I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna just probably just shake my head for like 30 seconds as I watch this Chargers game in the fourth quarter. What is it right now? 60, 63-14. Maybe I'll just stall for people to come vent. If you're a Chargers fan and you just want someone to vent, uh, come over here. We're live. Drop a comment and just let it out. Be frustrated about Staley, their performance, the players, Tom Telesco, the Spanos family. We're the place to come vent right now. We usually try to end, or start after the end of the Thursday Night Football broadcast, but we can't wait. It's a beatdown right now. So uh, shake my head a little more. There you go. It's terrible. But proper introduction here. I'm Gilbert Manzano, Gilberto Manzano, full name, NFL staff writer for Sports Illustrated, co-host and co-founder of Compas on the Beat. Our guy Fernando Ramirez is in Las Vegas for this terrible, terrible game. I feel for my guy. But yeah, we're here to talk about NFL Week 15. We'll discuss the Chargers game, the Raiders game. Depending on the comments, how they do, we'll break it down. But we don't want to spend too much time on this terrible game. We'd rather focus on the future, and we could talk about the Chargers' future, what's to come. But for right now, let me do an introduction. Victor Javier Corona, Victor producer. How you doing? And what do you think about this game right now that's going on that we didn't care about seeing the final score?
Yeah, I think I texted you, Gilbert, and said I'll see you for this show right around the middle of the first quarter. And yeah, that's pretty much tells you everything you need to know. I think everybody is pretty much waiting to see if and when they fire uh, Brandon Staley, and so we're on Brandon Staley fire watch as of right now, Gilbert. So I
Yeah.
think we should probably stay on like an hour after because I think it might happen right after the game. So. But yeah, looking forward to tonight's episode. We got a lot to get to. NFL Week 15 preview. We got your headlines of the game of the week: Cowboys, Bills. We got our top two tier games to go over, our future water cooler storylines, and then of course we get into our betting locks of the week, and then finish up with quick dump offs where we go over and pick the rest of the game. So Gilbert, go ahead and get us started.
Yeah.
We don't have any comments as of yet, but we have some people watching this episode, which is thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, definitely don't be shy. If you're a Raiders fan and you want to brag about the win, go ahead. If you're a Chargers fan and you're hurting and maybe you can't find the words right now, that's okay too. You want to hear me talk, and let me just give you some of my thoughts, and maybe we'll move on. But obviously, when the comments roll in, that'll be fine too. We could talk about the Chargers or the Raiders, whatever it is. But on the field, not much to talk about. Easton Stick waiting 5 years to get a start, and it just didn't work out his way. You kind of feel for him, but yeah, it's just the way the NFL is. And if the players are not ready to go, they don't want to compete for the head coach. Who knows what it is? But for the people who are hoping that Brandon Staley loses his job, and that sucks to even think about, but it is part of the business. When I covered the Chargers for the LA Daily News, Orange County Register, I covered the 45-0 game where Anthony Lynn was in the hot seat, and 45-0 was against the Patriots, and it wasn't Tom Brady. It was Cam Newton. It was at SoFi Stadium, and I'm trying to debate right now which one's worse, uh, the Chargers against the Raiders right now or the Chargers against the Patriots. This feels a little worse, but I know it's current here. But yeah, don't hold your breath on that. But maybe because it's on prime time and they're seeing, how embarrassing it is. The Spanos families out there, Tom Telesco's out there, they're all watching this atrocious game here. So maybe they'll make a change here, and it has to be, not just the head coach, the GM. It's just really bad right now. But we got a comment here from Alonso. I don't get how they could go from scoring 0 to 70 points. Yeah, that's embarrassing. This team had 0 points, 3-0 last week against Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs and the Vikings, and they're about to score 7. Or is it, what is it, Vic, right now? Is it 63 still?
Yeah, it looked like they just called back a punt return on the Chargers. They had scored a touchdown on it, which would have made it 21 points, and it looks like it got called back. So as of right now, we're still waiting. It looks like it's still the same score, 63-14.
Yeah, I feel like, the Broncos and the Dolphins game might be a little worse because it's 70 to 20, but that's a 50-point difference. And here I'm trying to do quick math. It's not that bad. Yeah, but it's really, really bad 'cause it's on prime time, and like I mentioned, that Patriots game that I covered in person, I don't think it was on prime time, and again, it was Cam Newton. It's one of the worst Patriots teams besides this year for Bill Belichick, and they lost 45-0, and Justin Herbert played in that game, so maybe that is worse for for that one. I'm trying to compare 2020 to 2023 here, so, for Chargers fans, you gotta feel I feel for them because they've seen a lot of bad football. 60 years of a whole lot of nothing, promising rosters, and they just kind of seem, to get in their own way for different reasons. But yeah, let's move on. If you don't want to drop a
I
comment.
have I wanted to ask you a question. Is this rock bottom for the Chargers since they moved to Los Angeles, in your opinion?
Well, that's what I'm trying to debate with myself right now. It's like, is it the 45-0 game to the Patriots, but they allowed 63 points or whatever the heck it is right now. I lost track. That's pretty bad defensively, and it makes Brandon Staley look worse because he is supposed to be the defensive guru. And then, the one thing he did right tonight was stopping to talk to the Amazon Prime broadcast. We were halftime, and he could have easily just said, "No, I don't want to talk," but he did. Maybe the writing's on the wall, and it's not looking good. But this is a road game. It is against a rival, so I'm trying to get the what's the pros and cons of what's worse. But they were at home at SoFi with Justin Herbert, 45-0. They were terrible on special teams. I remember that game. No Tom Brady. So, but I want to say this one because it's prime time and it's against your rivals, the Raiders, and it kind of just shows a lack of effort because there's no Keenan, no Corey Linsley, no Mike Williams, no Justin Herbert. So when you're down 21-0 with 2 minutes gone by, or 42-0, 49-0, I'm gonna say it's this one, but I know it's fresh in the memory here. But uh, let's talk about some real games in the NFL Week 15. And the only good thing, real quick, Vic, is the Chargers know how to tank, and they're gonna be a top 5 team in terms of draft picks, so that's good for them, at least in that part. But Onyx, shout out to you. How's it going? A touchdown was granted after a plea for mercy from the Chargers. A forfeit is being uh, negotiated. Merry Christmas. Yeah, it's one of these games where, like, my colleague Connor Orr, I saw him tweet that, if the Chargers score, either got to go to onside kick or you just get off the field. Why even try here? So, uh, and then even what was that? That first before it got really bad, the Raiders got a gift on that touchdown, and then it never looked back on the Trey Tucker touchdown. But yeah, good comment there, Onyx. And yeah, if you want to pot on the Chargers, that's fine too. It's bad. I know this team very well from covering them for 4 years, and obviously I know the Rams from covering them for a season or two too. But yeah, let's get to some real games, some big boy football. Actually, yeah, there's an engagement question. I forgot about that because I keep trying to process how terrible this game is here. But will the Chargers fire Staley soon? And I go back to the 45-0 game, the Patriots game. They did not fire Anthony Lynn. They actually won the last 4 games of the regular season. I think they finished like 7-9 or something. It didn't save his job, but he finished the whole season. But again, primetime football against your rival, and Spanos is there, the entire family is there, the GM is there. I would not be surprised if they fire him after this game. But who knows with this franchise? They gave Mike McCoy 4 years. They gave Anthony Lynn 4 years. Brandon Staley has 3 years. But when you have a franchise quarterback who's young, and you saw what happened to Phillip Rivers, who was there not too long ago against the Broncos who beat them 24-7. It got so much worse today. Uh, it's a reminder that you've had good players and you don't do much. So I would not be surprised if they fire him tomorrow, or tonight. But then again, it's a very young coaching staff. Who would it be as an interim? Kellen Moore, Ryan Ficken, or you really just don't care because you want to get a better draft pick? And this team got old very fast. They need more draft picks. So you got to help out Justin Herbert. We saw his value tonight. Without Herbert on the field, people didn't try. They didn't care because Herbert's the one who makes you feel like you got a chance. Anytime you're on the field with Justin Herbert, you got a chance. And I think that shows you his value to the team there. And people like to harp on him or give him crap for not being clutch. Well, tonight you saw what Easton Stick and how this team performed. I get it, a lot of injuries, but maybe the only person that looks good tonight is Justin Herbert. But yeah, what else we got here? Uh,
Yeah, I was just gonna say I know we're getting a lot of people who are watching from House of Horns, and I just wanted to say if Raheem Morris does decide to leave, Brandon Staley will be available. Do you want him as your defensive coordinator if Raheem Morris leaves after this season? He's done a great job, and I'm sure he's gonna get a head coaching job. So it's just something to keep in mind, Gilbert.
yeah.
We'll talk about it on House of
Yeah.
Horns as we
I
go.
definitely think they should get somebody with experience, and Raheem Morris has experience. Dan Quinn has experience. So, uh, yeah, but then it's kind of like the Chargers went and got Sean McVay's defensive coordinator and Brandon Staley, and it didn't work out. And people are gonna be like, we don't want that bad juju again. It's so unfair, but that's how people think or they operate. It's like, well, that player went to that college, and all those quarterbacks suck from that college, which is unfair to the current player. But that kind of that'll be the downside. But that's a good one. I definitely want to see Raheem Morris get another shot in the NFL. He was so young when he got the head coaching job with the Buccaneers. But yeah, if you're watching from House of Horns, you're feeling good. You know, I know the Rams lost to the Ravens, but they played great. If you're watching from What's Up Bolt, quick promo. You know, we're trying to talk about the Chargers because I didn't expect to talk this much because it's going to be some changes. Like you will hope, you would think, and it was an embarrassing effort here. So we're talking a little more. But Fernando Ramirez and Dan and Day will have you covered. I don't know how Dan's gonna get up for that one. Fernando is in Las Vegas. He'll give you the locker room point of view, the analysis from there, how it is talking to Brandon Staley. So definitely watch What's Up Boats when they post Fernando and Dan to get the better analysis. I'm just here trying to process what the hell is going on before our eyes, before the game is over. So but let's move on. Let's talk, some current games, even Rams Commanders. If you haven't checked out our preview from House of Horns, you could do it after this and check out Rams versus Commanders. Check out all our content on Compas on the Beat. And if you like this show as we move on, feel free to drop a sticker on a super sticker or a super like to support the network here. Help the Compas get to Super Bowl Radio Row, or check the link in the description for a way you could donate and help us out because we want to get to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. And we'll go to equipment, housing to do a bunch of content remote. Sorry, in person. Remotely is what we're doing right now, but in person. And shout out to people who have supported. We got a few after Wednesday's preview show of Rams versus Commanders. That meant a lot to me and Victor and everybody on Compas on the Beat to get some donations, get some support. That was cool to see, especially in December. It's tough to kind of, have some extra money aside. So I appreciate that. But let's talk about Week 15. Let's talk about real games, playoff implications. Let's wake up a little bit because the Chargers really brought me down today.
All right, Gilbert, here we go. Our headline game of the week, of course, we got to go with Cowboys and Bills. Um, Josh Allen versus Dak Prescott. Where do you want to start here? Do you want to start with the Cowboys or you want to start with the Bills?
I want to go and talk about the Cowboys. And let me check the line here real quick for this one.
I think
Uh,
it was. Is it Bills plus? Is it -3? Not plus
minus
minus.
2 on the Bills. For me, I would like to take the Cowboys +2. And here's why. They don't do well, outside of Dallas or even in, venues that are not indoors, or I'm not even sure if Buffalo has real grass or not. But obviously the Cowboys play better on artificial turf, things like that. But I think the Cowboys are going to pull it out here because they have a complete team. But I'll give you my last one in a bit. We got a comment from David Huey. What's up, David? Let me check out the comment.
There you go. I got you. I got you.
What do you think of Staley when you covered him? Good question, David. He came off very well. Like he knew what he was talking about. A smart, coach. You could tell why Sean McVay really liked them. Why Vic Fangio really liked them. He knows what he's talking about. At the time, this Vic Fangio defense was taken over, and you wanted that on your staff. And when Sean McVay got Brandon Staley from Vic Fangio, it's because the Bears just shut down the Rams like in 2018. I forget what year it was, and he wanted that, and that was that time where you want the too high shell, the Vic Fangio scheme, and it just didn't really work out with the Chargers. And he had Aaron Donald, he had Jalen Ramsey, and it worked out with the Rams. But there's no excuses about players with the Chargers. David, as you know, because Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, J.C. Jackson, Eric Hendricks, I can keep going on and on. It's a stacked defense, and for the first year I covered him, David, the excuses were like, it's too complicated. Give us time to learn this defensive scheme. The run defense was terrible, and then 2 3 years later, nothing really changed. They had that 1 month in this like December last year where they played well, and they never clicked. And you know, I'm usually against firing coaches within 1 year or 2 years, but when it became 3 years, you haven't seen much progress. Yeah, they went to the playoffs last year, but you lost 27-0. You're up 27-0, right? I think it was, and you blew that in Jacksonville, and you never really recovered. So, the one thing I did like about Brandon Staley his first year, he wasn't shy to talk about the Chargers curse, the Chargers injuries, Chargers missing field goals, things like that. He was attacking it that way, and I was like, okay, that's different. And it never worked out. And I think the guess that I'm going to take here, David, to answer your question, was like maybe he was just not ready for the moment. Inexperienced, a little younger. I think he was might be still in his 30s or maybe 40 now. The coaching staff is very young. You never saw a lot of like experienced coaches. I know Joe Lombardi was his most experienced coach when he first started, and that obviously didn't really work out too well. So, when you're young as a coach, you better have a good network of coaches to come work with you, build a good coaching staff, and that was an issue because you fired the special teams coordinator Darius Swinton, you fired Joe Lombardi, uh, Ronaldo Hill left as your DC. So all these changes, I think the coaching staff is a big part. But he's a smart dude. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes somewhere else and he makes the defense work. But whatever reason it was, it just didn't work out with the Chargers. Maybe there's a rift with Tom Telesco and choosing players because you got to have players who fit your scheme. And it feels like Staley had too many players from the previous regime to try to make it work. So I know I'm giving you a long answer, but I'm trying to figure out why it did not work. David, it seems like he looks for edges in wrong places, hanging out with Kerr, focusing on cleats, but not on the fundamentals. Yeah, I know he's definitely he's one of those guys that likes to kind of get a little bit of everything and kind of make sure it helps him out. And with Steve Kerr, it was a nice try and a unique thing, but it just didn't work out. And I think players really liked him for his speeches and kind of get him motivated. But I think the scheme and the coaches and getting the right players and being on the same page with the GM, I don't think they ever worked out. At least that's what I was thinking here. Randy, I started Raiders D tonight. Good job, Randy. I don't know if you were on my TikTok live, but I kept telling people start the Raiders defense, and that was my proudest moment of the year because it paid off. And there's a lot of people who are actually telling me, "Hey, Chargers defense or Raiders defense?" I'm like, "Why are you thinking about starting the Chargers defense? Go with the Raiders defense. They're actually pretty good this year. They're at home facing a bad offensive line. They got Max Crosby playing. They got and the Chargers have Easton Stick. So shout out to you, Randy. And if you guys want to ask me more fantasy football questions, Victor's doing better than I am in our league. But I'm so on that when it comes to that. But Victor, I'm guessing you
I
probably
I should
like
I
that
should
play.
have listened to you because I I stayed with the Colts defense against that Pittsburgh Steelers offense. So maybe I should have listened to you because last time I checked, there at least in our league, the Raiders defense had 35 points. So I don't know what it is now. Now that the Chargers have scored another touchdown. So, but we'll see. But let's
Yeah.
get back to Cowboys Bills. If we, like I said, continue to ask questions. Here we have another one. Um, I got one for you. Say Flowers or Devontae Smith.
Zay Flowers is playing the terrible Jaguars second there. They're actually second worst behind the Commanders, so I do like Zay Flowers. Devontae Smith playing kind of a
The
so-so
the
Seahawks
Seahawks.
secondary. They have talent, but they're not producing together. But I like Zay Flowers. When I looked up at the Jaguars are allowing a lot of passing yards, and especially what Zay Flowers did to the Rams last week. At least me, I like Zay Flowers. What do you think, Vic?
Yeah, Safe Flowers is the number one option. They're running their offense through Safe Flowers, and they're using play action to get him the ball. So, yeah, Safe Flowers is Devontae Smith is the number two, maybe the number three, depending on, especially in this Eagles offense now. You have AJ Brown and then Goddard as your number two option, and now it seems like Devontae Smith is number three. But they're as you said, the Seahawks defense isn't as good, but it's mostly their run defense. They got talent, with Witherspoon and some of their other corners. So I think I would probably, I go say Flowers. I'm with you.
Okay. Thank you, Randy, for the question. And yeah, you too, David, Onyx, Alonzo, keep it coming. If you're watching too on this live, if you're a Chargers fan, you want to vent, and you want to ask me questions. I'm not as good as Fernando because he's still covering the team on a daily, but I know that team very well. You want to brag about the Raiders? Vic and I have you covered too with that. Fantasy football bets, things like that, game picks, and we'll have you covered. But for my point with the Cowboys, I'll be quick. Maybe you have a different opinion, Victor, but
I do, but go
you,
ahead.
for me, they're a complete team, and obviously when they play outdoors or whatever type of grass, they're different. But honestly, I really like them because of the kicker. Brandon Aubrey don't miss, and he's got. If you're in a cold environment, and that kind of gives you an advantage, and you're in a game that's kind of a playoff like setting, I like the kicker right there. Tyler Bass is not a bad kicker on the Bill side. But Aubrey, like I mentioned, he does not miss 59-yarder, 60-yarder against the Eagles. That could be a weapon. I like how they adjusted defensively after a bad week against the Seahawks. Shout out to Dan Quinn there, uh, making Stephon Gilmore, shadow AJ Brown. It's a simple move, but it works. Some coaches are hesitant to have a player shadow somebody, and obviously, I think the biggest thing is going to be Concedi and Dak keep doing what they're doing outdoors, not in the comfort of their own home. I think they can. And I think it's gonna be a big game for the Cowboys to prove the doubters wrong. And I'll take them minus. So yeah, +2.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of the things you're saying, but the only reason I'm going here with the Bills is because they're fighting for their playoff lives. One of the things that I keep seeing with the Bills is the fact that we talked about it. They're not well coached in terms of game management. So that's my biggest concern with Sean McDermott and this team. But Josh Allen right now is playing really well, and he's putting this team on his back. We saw it against the Chiefs. We saw it against the Eagles. He almost pulled out that win against the Eagles. And I think now that he's at home, it matters a lot for him. And I'll say this, Gilbert. I think we kind of I wish that Trayvon Diggs would have been healthy because we would have seen the matchup between the two brothers here.
Oh yeah.
But in terms of this game, I think as you talked about, I'm pretty sure the I'm hoping for a shootout because I have Josh Allen in a couple of leagues, and so just just with what we have in this game, I think it's gonna tell a lot about both teams, and I just feel like the Bills need this game more than the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys kind of got a monkey off their back by beating the Eagles because they needed one of those signature wins. I think for the Bills, especially at home with Bills Mafia there, I think they come out on top in this game. I just like I said, the Cowboys are just unstoppable at home. You've also said this is also a turf game, so it's gonna benefit the Cowboys. But I just think you're asking a lot of the Cowboys to go on the road, to go to Buffalo and pull out a win. And I just, especially against a desperate team like the Bills, Gilbert.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of things. With the Bills, I felt like they got a little lucky in Kansas City, but it was a game that needed to win. I don't know if I saw a team that was desperate and they played well, but maybe once they saw a lot of teams losing the AFC and now they're at home, and they're like, okay, we got lucky in KC with the call. It was a good call, but there was other situations in that game. Only scoring 20 points. It was a good defense though they were facing, but maybe that could be a wake up call there. With the Cowboys, I wonder if they're like, man, like we're in a lock here with the 49ers and the Eagles. Our best chance is getting the number one seed. The 49ers have to play the Ravens. Maybe they'll slip up. And the Eagles have a soft schedule. Maybe they'll slip up in Seattle. We can't lose out. But the thing with the Cowboys that I worry about them before going to the playoffs, Victor, I see how beat up the Eagles are after their tough series of games, 5 consecutive games, twice against the Cowboys, one against the 49ers, one against the Bills, one against the Chiefs. They were fatigued. Now it's the Cowboys' turn to do that. You got Buffalo, you played the Eagles, you have to play in Miami, you have to play Detroit. Like, what if they get beat up at the wrong time? And then it's like same old Cowboys. So this is a good one that we're split on. But I do not disagree with you if things turn out the way that you were saying it or what I'm saying. But just those are just kind of things that I'm thinking about. Like it's gonna be a grind for the Cowboys. They might show us a lot here, especially starting with this game in Buffalo.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I mean, the Cowboys have the better defense. I just think that this is going to be a prove it game for both teams. And we usually see this a lot, Gilbert, with teams who get that big win that they've been, and both teams are coming off of that. The Bills beat the Chiefs. They needed that win. And then same thing with the Cowboys. They got that signature win now. So it'll be interesting. I just give the edge to the home team here, but we'll see. I mean, I like the fact that we're on opposite sides on this game, and we'll see who. And I'm also glad that it's a Sunday night game. I mean, we don't have
Oh
to
yeah,
get it early on in the day. That's pretty cool. All right, Gilbert, that's time for our page two. Our other two games to watch this evening. We have some comments here. So before
yeah.
we get to that, here we go from 410 East Coast. Look at the bright side. They didn't give up the most points in NFL history, only in team
Yeah,
history.
the
The
positive.
positives. There you go.
Yeah,
So
that's a good one for Chargers fans. Maybe they're coming in right now because the game just ended, and nobody's waiting for that game anyway. So I don't know why I'm saying that,
yeah,
but maybe you see the final score on your phone, and like, oh, okay, maybe a good time to check out a YouTube. If you're on checking out our YouTube here, definitely subscribe if you can. But it was 63-21, and let me know if that's correct, the Victor from the
yeah,
last
that
time I checked.
it
So that's
is. And then I was just gonna give you one more. I know it's not positive, but it's positive on the Raiders side. They become the first team since 1950 to have 8 different players score a touchdown.
wow.
So
That is an impressive stat. I had no idea. And real quick on the Raiders front, man, like good job from Antonio Pierce. I know it was a struggle the last couple of weeks, but that team could have easily melded in the same way the Chargers did tonight. Aiden O'Connell was terrible the week before, and I actually like the move from Antonio Pierce to stick with O'Connell. You didn't really have a chance to go play Jimmy G because of the contract. Then you got Brian Hoyer, but it was a short week. Like let the guy kind of figure it out. You don't have a full week to get somebody else involved. So short week, fire your team up. It's Chargers week. It's a rivalry week, and they spanked them 63-21. So I don't know if it's going to work out for Pierce long term as a head coach. I don't see it. And because usually interim coaches don't get a fair shake here, but he did struggle for a bit with the offense there. But to do it without Josh Jacobs, that was pretty impressive too. This, Zamir White. People kept asking about Zamir White in fantasy football. I was like, people kept asking me, and I say no, no, no. And then I was like, all right, F it. It is the Chargers. Go try it. And he had a decent showing, but like you mentioned, I don't know who started Aiden O'Connell in fantasy football, Vic. Somebody out there in the world did, and they dominated. And it's probably in the consolation bracket, not in the playoffs. Uh,
probably.
but again, real quick, drop a comment. You want to talk about fantasy football? If you want to talk about the Chargers, this is opportunity. We're gonna get to your comments. We might not be talking about the Chargers currently, but we could get to it if you drop a comment. You want to talk about the Raiders? That's fine too. It's a live show. We're here to talk all things football, fantasy, sports betting, things like that. But I'm ready to go and move on for games to watch. 2 games to watch here for page 2.
All right, let's start off with Ravens and Jaguars. You have, the Ravens coming off a big win in overtime against the Rams, and then the Jaguars seem to start fading. You're going to get Trevor Lawrence, who's still kind of iffy with the knee, but he's going to give it a go. Where do you want to start, with the Ravens or the Jaguars here, Gilbert?
Yeah, let's go with the Jaguars. They are +3. They're the home favorite. I mean, the home underdog, similar to the 49ers game. And I'll go off of that. I mean, the Jaguars are frauds. So they just kind of get to the point here. I don't believe in the Jaguars. And, it was a rough week last week. They played on Monday Night Football, lost to the Bengals, and lost to the Browns. Trevor Lawrence, had a gutsy performance. He played 6 days with the bum ankle there. And, he wasn't great. 3 interceptions there. You don't have Christian Kirk. You didn't have Walker Little, the lineman who hurt Trevor Lawrence. So they're pretty beat up here. And the one thing I got to worry, maybe you could check for me, Vic, while I'm talking, is I'm not sure about Kyle Hamilton playing. Kyle Hamilton makes all the difference in the world for the Ravens. Yeah, you have Roquan Smith, but I just love Kyle Hamilton's versatility as a pass rusher, run defender, and coverage, things like that. So if he doesn't get to go, because the last time I checked, he was day to day, but it didn't sound good when it comes to an MCL sprain. So if he doesn't play, maybe the Jaguars have a better chance. But I've seen the Jaguars in too many, games against good opponents. They got crushed by the Chiefs, who can't even score points right now. Crushed by the 49ers. They got crushed by the Texans. I'm just not a fan of their work, and they're talented, and I think you've been saying it all along. But their offense have been bad, and now the defense is catching up too. They've taken a few steps back. So
All
Give
right,
me the
Gilbert.
Ravens minus 3 here.
All right. Kyle Hamilton was back on the field
Oh,
practicing today, but from some reporters are saying he said, "I'm feeling good. Still not sure if I'll play. It's up in the air." Went out there today and felt pretty good. So,
hmm,
if I'm the Ravens, I'm probably gonna give him you. I think a lot of people are just waiting for that 49ers matchup. So I think a
oh,
lot of people want him to kind of sit and be
yeah.
ready to go 100% against the 49ers. So, but in terms of this game, as you talked about with the Jaguars, I think and you have a defensive coordinator who has, he comes from the Todd Bowles tree. And so with him is you're going to get a lot of the same concepts, a lot of blitzing here and there, and they've been really good. I think they've been the better thing. The problem is, Gilbert, is that their corners aren't, household names, and so they're starting to get beat. And so that's been part of the problem. Their linebacker, we've been talking about this, Gilbert, and I told you a couple of weeks ago about how linebackers are going to start coming back and the importance of linebackers are going to and the for a while there the Jaguars linebackers were playing really well. They've been getting exposed the last 3 weeks, and it's been kind of it's been showing in their play. But I think the biggest thing, Gilbert, is the Jaguars offense, and I think they've been on hold the whole season. I thought they were going to take the step. I think the offensive coordinator is Press Taylor, and I know that I've been listening to people, and I've also been reading that he's the one calling the plays, and I think at some point Doug Peterson needs to take over the play calling because you could tell that his hands are not on this offense and it's been struggling. And so I'm just wondering how long he'll go before he says, you know what, I'm gonna take over the play calling because it just hasn't been there. And I get it. There's been injuries. You got Evan Ingram, you have other guys who haven't had great years. And I know there's the whole chemistry with Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence that hasn't been there yet. And then you lose Say Jones and Christian Kirk this season, and so that's been a problem. ETN hasn't gotten going. Like he had a good 3 game stretch there in the middle of the season, but I think this offense has been MIA.
Yeah, and real quick, Victor, another promo alert. If you're done watching the Chargers and the Raiders game and you're a Chargers fan, make sure to watch What's Up Bolts later for to get the post game analysis from Fernando Ramirez and Dan and Dago. Fernando is in Las Vegas, unfortunately, for this beatdown at Allegiant Stadium. But you probably want to listen to his takeaways because he's going to be in the locker room talking to all the players, and I can only imagine how that locker room is right now. He's going to be talking to Brandon Staley, so you want to hear how that is. Brandon Staley is known for losing his temper this season because of his jobs on the hot seat here. So make sure to watch What's Up Boats when they upload later. But right now, if you can't wait and you want to vent, go ahead. That's cool too. I know people are watching me either from What's Up Boats, from House of Horns, from Compas on the Beat, but just a quick reminder there. And yeah, it's not going well for the Jags, Vic. And the break that they caught last week was the Colts and the Texans losing, and then the Colts. Sorry, I mean the Texans might not have CJ Stroud, so that could be another game if they lose to the Titans. With Titans who beat the Dolphins, we'll talk about that game later on for probably quick dump offs. I'm not sure yet, but I think I see another comment here from David. Can you text Daniel Popper and have him be extra spicy and questioning the post game here? I do have his number. I should text him, but I don't. I'm sure he's already locked in, and so is Dan and Jeff. I don't think Joe Reedy's out there, but yep, I know that crew very well, and it should be interesting, especially you know which players talk because you don't have the captains like a Herbert or a Keenan Allen. You do have Austin Eckler out there who's having a rough season, but you got Sebastian Joseph Day. Khalil Mack is kind of a quiet dude, but he'll show you some emotion too for sure. So I kind of want to rush this show here so I can see the post game interviews, but we'll get to it in a bit. And let me know if you're watching it and something happens in the comments. Definitely let me know what the hell is going on because I definitely want to know. Theo, shout out to you, Gilbert and Victor. Hello, my boys. We're your compas. Come on, Theo. Get with it already. But that's cool too.
Yeah,
Hopefully
and then
you're doing
Gilbert,
okay, Theo.
I'm checking. I'm refreshing my Twitter here just to see if anything happens. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any updates from anybody yet. But we did get a scoregami. I know you're a big fan
What?
of the
Really?
scoregami. Yes,
Hell yeah.
63-21. That's the scoregami. It's the 1083rd unique final score in NFL history. So there you go, Gilbert. We got
Love it.
us. There you
Something
go.
positive. I know 410 East Coast had a different positivity, but this is what I live for. Scoregami. I know Sean Payne didn't know about it, and now he does. But that's awesome. 63-21. Yeah, it is a
Yeah.
funky score there. But a tier. I'm so happy Dean Spano was there too. The embarrassment, slap in the face. Everybody was there. Who wants to miss the Vegas trip? And it didn't turn out their way. Imagine, going out on the strip after that, and you're the owner of the Chargers, and you're the president of football operations, or you're the GM. Uh, Maybe have a quiet dinner, maybe by yourself, and that's about it. But that's rough there. I'm sure Fernando will have a good time after. Who knows? Well, let me know,
Yeah.
Fernando. But
Yeah.
uh, good job, Atir. Giving us the comments that we were missing you. I know. Oh, by the way, Atir, we messed up when it comes to being consistent on the schedule. We've been doing Wednesday. You're probably wondering what the hell happened on Wednesday. We did a poor job promoting that we wanted to wait till Thursday because obviously a lot of our supporters here at Compas on the Beat are Chargers fans. Obviously, we got a good amount of supporters from the Raiders too, and it felt like a LA based game, so we wanted to wait it out for Thursday, and we did not expect this kind of beatdown, but that's why we moved it. Sorry about that, Athir. Uh,
Yeah. There
what's
we
up,
go.
Drew? Got a comment here, right?
Yep. What's up, Bolts? That was bad, my boy.
That was bad. And Drew, like I mentioned earlier, make sure to refresh your feed on What's Up Bolts because Fernando's going to give you his takeaways from the locker room. That should be interesting from the press conferences. He's in Las Vegas. I'm here to talk NFL Week 15, the other games, but I'm also here to kind of hear your thoughts, hear your frustrations. You want to vent, that's okay too. So no problem with that. I know maybe Victor has to get going, but I'm here to hang around for a bit because it is one of these interesting nights to say the
Oh,
least, right?
I'm staying here. Like I told you, Gilbert. I'm good to stay until we get some news because there's already people posting up at the airport waiting to see
Wow.
if Brandon Staley is going to be fired tonight and if he's fired at the airport. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, watch
But
us
yeah,
leave in the stream, and then the news comes. Brandon Staley's fired. Like, what the heck? But at least that'll be good for Fernando and Dan. But I
yeah.
can totally see
All
that happening. But go
All
ahead.
right, Gilbert. Before we move on from Ravens Jaguars, who do you got here?
Yeah,
What's your pick here?
yeah. I'm not gonna hesitate here. Give me the Ravens -3 with or without Kyle Hamilton. And you're right on the whole big game looming. Maybe we should be worried about that a little bit. 49ers, Ravens on Christmas Day. And definitely save Kyle Hamilton for that. I think you could get by the Jaguars, without him. Again, they're suspect. They have a lot of injuries themselves. They are at home, but it doesn't matter too much for the Jaguars. They're at home against the Bengals. They were at home against the 49ers. Maybe even that Chiefs game. I forget. I think they were. Oof. But yeah, give me the Ravens. You?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll take the points as well with the Ravens there. The way they've been playing, I think they finally got a little bit of a test with the Rams there, but I think they'll be ready to go on the road. And actually, the Jaguars, I noticed that they play worse at home. They play better on the road, so this does not bode well for the Jaguars. And watch them pull up an upset just the way.
Yeah, it's
Here we
such a
go.
weird
I
year.
got an
Yeah.
update for you from Fernando. He says Chargers head coach Brandon Staley says he should be the head coach moving forward. He was asked if he will be, and he said, "I don't know."
So he said that he feels confident, and then he says, "I don't
No,
know."
no. So apparently it says I'm guessing he was
Oh, he should
asked.
be. Okay, he said he
Yeah,
should be.
yeah. I'm guessing because the way it says is Chargers head coach Brandon Staley says he should be the head coach moving
Okay.
forward. He was asked if he will be, and he said, "quote I don't know."
Yeah. Okay. So that's he's confident, but he doesn't know. Before it would have been like, what are you talking about? Why are you asking me this question? Of course I'm gonna be the head coach here. Now when he says I don't know, that tells you what type of beatdown he just had, a historic, blowout in Las Vegas against a rival in prime time. That makes you concerned. Again, I don't know what this franchise, like I mentioned earlier, I covered the Chargers for as a daily beat reporter for 4 seasons. They didn't fire Anthony Lynn after 45-0, but this is ugly. Score Gami 63-21. a team that's riddled with injuries. I get that, but you're talented. You have Justin Herbert, and my colleague Connor Ora SI wrote that this team wasted Justin Tucker, good kicker, Justin Herbert's rookie contract, and now you got to deal with the salary cap next year. And Tom Telesco's baby has always been the salary cap. It ain't anymore. It's gonna be a whole lot of issues next year. So we'll see what happens. Maybe they just clean house. Tom Telesco been there 11 years. Brandon Staley 3 years, 0 AFC West titles in that span. But I digress. What else we got, Vic?
Yeah. All right, let's get to our second tier game, and that is Eagles versus Seahawks. For the first time, Gilbert, we have a game that got
Yeah,
flexed into Monday Night Football, and that's the Eagles traveling to the great Northwest and the Seattle Seahawks. Where do you want to start here? You want to start with the struggling both teams? I mean,
yeah.
both of them are coming in wounded here. You have the Eagles. Uh, with a 2 game losing streak. I think one of the big things with them is I've told you, one of my big concerns with them is the fact that their point differential is only 21. You have a Seahawks team who's lost 4 in a row. They got beat down by the 49ers. They stayed close with the Cowboys. So where do you want to start off for this matchup?
Yeah, fine. Let's go with the home team with the Seahawks. They're +3 here. I wanted to talk more Eagles, but I'll talk Seahawks. I'll say this: like you mentioned, they kept it close against the Cowboys. They've lost a lot of games, and the first time in the Pete Carroll era, 4 games in a row they've lost. If you don't win this one, I hate to say it, Seattle, you're a talented roster. I don't want to see you in the playoffs. Don't waste a postseason spot to get steamrolled by the 49ers in round one. Maybe the Eagles, or I guess maybe they could beat the Lions. I don't know. They're frauds. I'll just say that again. But the Seahawks beat the Eagles and prove me wrong, because we've seen a lot of upsets, especially on Monday where the Giants beat the Packers, the Titans beat the Dolphins. You could do it. There's Monday Night Football again. You're at home, Seattle. Show me something, and I'll be quick here. I'll give you my pick. I'm not gonna believe in them. Give me -3 on the Eagles, because I think they know they need a win now. Not the last 2 in a row. They don't want to lose a division title to the Cowboys. They don't want to go to San Francisco in the playoffs either. So I think the Eagles would play better. They're definitely, they look fatigued, against Dallas. I think with the 49ers game, they got smacked in the mouth and they woke up like, oh, actually, we do kind of suck a little bit here. So we'll see if they make adjustments here, Victor.
Yeah, Thier has them the Eagles by 10. And I'm just gonna say this, Gilbert. I been I jumped off the Eagles bandwagon even before this. I've been a bit critical in terms of the structure of this team this season, and I understood why they decided to run it back with some of the players. They brought, back some of their leadership. But I feel like, the way they've gone about building this team has been through their pass rush, and they've just decided to ignore their linebackers, as I've talked about before. And Slay and Bradbury have just regressed just really bad, like to the point where I think the Seahawks are going to keep this game just kind of like what we saw against the Cowboys. They're gonna expose the middle of that defense, in the secondary, and I really like the Seahawks in this game
Wow.
because of it. Now, do I think I think I like the what is it? Is it -4 Eagles here, or is it
I'm
-3?
seeing -3, but yeah, most of them are -3 here.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
that's gonna be one of my best bets is the Seahawks. I think
oh,
they cover here, and I really think that, and they're at home. I know they haven't been great at home this season. I've talked about that with the Seahawks, but you're having to travel across the country, and that's also a hard. We've talked about this, Gilbert, on House of Horns as well. How hard it is for teams now to go across especially when you have to go to Seattle for East Coast teams. So I know a lot of people don't think that's a big thing, but teams that go into Seattle have a problem, especially coming from the East Coast. So I like the Seahawks to cover here, but I think the Eagles pull out a 1 point win.
if it was like -4, I probably would have gone with you with the Seahawks to cover. But I took it when they had +9 against the Cowboys, and that paid off. But but I can't do -3, Vic. Here, this team has a lot of issues. But You never know. After what happened on Monday Night Football, I'm gonna give you some upsets eventually, Vic, but because of what's been going on this season, but I don't see it with this one. But what else we got?
All right, let's get to our future water cooler storylines now, Gilbert. What would be the storyline come Monday that people are going to be talking about? You usually give us two, and I give you guys one. Last week I said Jack Browning would lead the Bengals, and it would start the beginning of a playoff run for them. It's starting to look good for me there. So, what do you got for us this week, Gilbert?
Yeah, so finally something where I could talk about as a potential upset. I'm gonna say the storyline is gonna be Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa struggles versus Jets defense, and I'm just gonna say even if Tyreek Hill plays, I think I still would like the Jets defense to frustrate Tua, and if Tyreek Hill doesn't play, then I'm gonna feel really good about my bet here. So I'm gonna take the the Jets to cover plus 9.5 in Miami. Tua has been, an average quarterback at best since September. These Dolphins were clicking in September, and it just hasn't worked out. You know, I do like the Dolphins running game. Mike McDaniel's, kind of that's underrated for his team. Yeah, they're not physical, but they're getting yards, and that's what happened against the Titans. Like, it wasn't the best throwing day, but Mostert and Achane, they were just moving the chains there. So maybe that could help them out where you're not predictable, one dimensional against a very good Jets defense. But I just saw this Jets defense, frustrate CJ Stroud, and that was his worst performance of the season. I know he's a rookie and Tua's not, but Tua hasn't shown me much besides that Commanders game. But it's the Commanders; they have a terrible defense. So, and as Robert Saleh said not too long ago, he's frustrated many elite quarterbacks in the NFL. It could happen to Tua here, especially with no Tyreek Hill. And honestly, I think they probably should be cautious with Tyreek Hill. I get he wants to get the record and maybe be the MVP, but you need that guy to make something in the playoffs happen. So without him, you're pretty much cooked here. So why risk it? And it's gonna be an opportunity for the Jets to maybe steal a game in Miami. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I like this, especially after what I saw against the Titans. You could tell that if for people who've been saying Tyreek for MVP, I mean that just showed that quarter and a half without Tyreek Hill, this offense really struggles without Tyreek Hill. And we talked about it on regular Compas and how Danny Dago was adamant, like at what point do you bring in Mike White? And you have to start thinking about that just because this offense hasn't been the same, especially without Tyreek Hill. But Gilbert, I'm gonna say that my biggest thing too is they don't have any pass rushers, since they lost, uh, with Jalen Phillips.
Yeah.
I mean, they also lost another edge rusher. They've been hurting. I thought they had finally gotten things together with once Jalen Ramsey got back, but they're starting to struggle on that side of the ball, and their next three games are tough, man. Like, and I really like the Bills to come back and win that division now. And I think that's going to be something that we're going to start talking about, especially if you're right. If the Dolphins struggle and they lose to the Jets have a little bit of juice, especially after what they did to the Texans. You don't, teams like the Jets are dangerous this time of season, especially when you're a playoff contending team and you're trying to get into the playoffs. You overlook a team like the Jets, and they're gonna run you over, Gilbert. I'm with
Yeah.
you.
The Dolphins brought back Melvin Ingram, who's been decent when the last couple of years, but there's a reason why he's still been at home. A little older now. Former Chargers edge rusher. They could have used Melvin Ingram tonight, by the way, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. And Victor, to your point, if they don't win this game against the Jets, they got to play the Cowboys, Ravens, and the Bills. And say you're like in a 2-3 game losing streak, or actually it would be four, right? Or
Yep.
maybe you lose 2 out of 3, and then you're playing the Bills, who have the tiebreaker on you already, and it's for the AFC East title. I could definitely see them stealing it in Week 18. So, but yeah, let's move on to my. Actually, do you like that? The plus, you said plus 9.5, right? You're okay with that? Taking it?
Yeah, no, I like the Jets to cover here. Yes.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to my other one, and this one I'm not gonna just go off of the points. I'm gonna say be straight up with it. I think the Giants and Tommy DeVito make it 4 straight after beating the Saints. That's gonna be my prediction here, and the Saints are -6 at home. And maybe I'm just late to the party. I don't care. I just want to get some action here and jumping on the Giants bandwagon with Tommy DeVito. Yeah, some of these jokes are cliches and they're boring, they're repetitive, but I just like everything about his story. Not being undrafted, being from the home area, and actually a lot of people owe Tommy an apology because they were making fun of him for saying that he lives with his parents. Like, oh, that's not a flex here. Why you live at home, kind of thing. And now they love the story. Like, come on, pick a side here. Tommy DeVito is a great story, underdog story. So maybe I'll get it wrong here, but I'm gonna take my chance here because the Saints have been very inconsistent. Derek Carr is screaming at somebody every single week. I feel like in New Orleans. I'm not even sure if his teammates like him. I know the fans don't like him. They're already booing him when Taysom Hill comes off the field. They're 6-7. They still have a chance in the NFC South. They are playing at home, but they have a defense that's taken many steps back. They're pretty bad against the run. It's a veteran group. They've had some injuries too. So, why not? Tommy DeVito and the Giants go into New Orleans and I could just take the coaching advantage too. Brian Dable is doing a good job there, getting his players to fight. They all want to compete for DeVito, so they got the coaching advantage. They got the effort advantage. So why not? Maybe they'll steal it here and money line the Giants for me here, and I don't need the +6.
Oh yeah, I like the Giants too. Here, they've been playing really well. I think that like you said, this will be their fourth straight win. Ever since the rumor we started hearing there was friction between Brian Dayball and Martindale, things have somehow gotten patched up. Shout out to them for doing that. And then
Underrated defense too.
yeah, they've gotten. We're starting to see the team we saw at the end of last season, and so that's been good to see. And with the backup guy, I'm sure this storyline is going to continue on, Gilbert, even into the off season. Honestly, like I can see this, I can see Dabo being asked about DeVito during the summer, and I know with how the tabloids are in New York, it's just going to become a bigger deal, and so the more he wins, the harder it gets for Daniel Jones to get his job back. And I know that's going to be a big storyline this offseason. But hey, that for now, enjoy it, continue to win,
Yeah.
and that's the way it is. All right, Gilbert, I'm gonna make mine short and sweet, and that is Josh Allen is back in the MVP conversation with a big game and a win over the Cowboys. I just like I said, nobody's running away with this MVP right now. We have Dak Prescott, we have Brock Purdy, we have a lot of guys in the mix, but I think as I talked about, Josh Allen and the Bills have a plus 100 point differential. The fact that they're 7-6 is just, it's just, it just doesn't make sense. And when you have like a Philadelphia Eagles team who's 10-3, but they have a plus 21 point differential, the Raiders right now with their outburst just went over the plus differential. So it tells you how big of a difference there is between some of these teams. They should not be 7-6, and I think, but you are what your record says. But I think with a big game against the Cowboys on national TV, he's right back in the MVP conversation, especially if he leads them to a win over the Cowboys.
Yeah, especially because Dak Prescott is maybe the front runner, or him and Brock Purdy are up there. So you could beat Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, and leapfrog them in the MVP conversations. But the Bills really need this win, like you mentioned, Victor, because they don't have the tiebreaker against the Bengals, against the Broncos. So those are two teams that they're fighting with and competing for a wild card spot. So you better make sure you're leading. If the Broncos keep winning and the Bengals keep winning and you're tied with them at the end of the year, you're gonna get screwed over some way. So you cannot. They might need to run the tables. It's kind of weird because they're 7-6, but they might be the best team outside of the Ravens, I feel like, in the AFC, but they're currently 11th because of all the games they lost to some of these opponents in the AFC. Like they'll probably lose the AFC conference record, the tiebreakers head to head. So, maybe you're right about the pressure because it's really on. They're 11th, and I think they're the second best team in the AFC. So that's a very wacky AFC going on. But what else we got?
Before we move on to our betting locks, I wanted to share Atir's comment here. He says, "Look, I believe in the Spanos family. They desperate need the title to sell the team to cash in. I believe in my heart that they're all in on a GM and coach this offseason, and they paid Kirby.
Yeah,
So, I mean, yeah, I don't think we disagree with you there, Thier. I think that they're gonna have to go in and clean house, and if they don't, I think it's gonna look bad on them. And I think they know the pressure's on.
yeah.
I don't know
And
what you think
they're in
about that.
LA too, and they're building a new facility. Like this is their new home, and now you're getting. This is supposed to be the year, Vic, where they overtake the Rams. At least with a better team. I'm not saying that that's going to be a quick way to get more fans in LA, but it was an opportunity to say, hey, we're better than the other team at least, and that hasn't worked out. They're like, it's funny because like a month ago, I was in the SoFi Stadium press box, and somebody because the Chargers were struggling, somebody asked me, who will win in a game right now? And this was like maybe a month. Let's say let's make myself look better. Like 2 months ago, like no, who's better, the Rams or the Chargers? I'll say the Chargers have better talent, and obviously the Rams have just taken off ever since I said that. So it just shows you how bad things got very quickly for the Chargers roster, and they got to win in LA. Like you can't be acting like you're the Angels or the Clippers. Like if you could, and then you're kind of like the second afterthought team for years and years and years. So you got the franchise quarterback. Like I see people are doing like the rankings for the most desirable jobs in the NFL, and they're usually like top two because they have Justin Herbert. So you better take advantage because you have the biggest Lego piece that you're trying to rebuild here is Justin Herbert. So, but we know what's going on with this franchise. There's a lot of people who've been around for a while, and it just doesn't work. So let's see if they do a full clean, change here. But it's gonna suck for
Yeah.
Herbert to have to learn a new coaching staff, things like that. But again, I digress.
Yeah, I just hate to make this comparison because we just saw Shohei Otani sign with the Dodgers and he just had his big press conference. But the way the Angels have run things with Shohei is kind of reminds me of the way they've run things with with uh with Herbert. And it's sad because you wish they do a better job of surrounding him with talent, and I think eventually, Artie Moreno, he fired a bunch of his GMs, and Dean Spano has decided to keep the same GM. I think in this case, to Athir's point, they just need to clean house. They need to just clean house and start over and give him a shot now that you paid him, and I think that's the way to go. And so we'll
Yeah.
see what happens. He wants to see Alex. Is it Halabi, the Eagles assistant GM, will be named. So we'll see what happens there. But Thier, we got your comment in there. All right, Gilbert, let's get to our betting locks. So last week, Gilbert, I swept. I after the week after going over, I think I went 1 for 4. I came back this week, last week I should say, and I got all my picks right. I got Eagles, Cowboys, 52 under. I hit that. I had the Rams, Ravens, 40.5 over. I got the Raiders +3 against the Vikings. I mean, it was I barely hit it there. You have the Bengals +1 against the Colts and the Jaguars Browns 30.5 over. You went 2 and 3. You missed on the Lions -3 against the Bears, the Eagles +3.5 against the Cowboys, Texans -3.5 against the Jets, and then you hit on the Chargers and Broncos 43.5 under, and the Colts Bengals 43.5 over. So, what are your best bets this week, Gilbert?
Yeah.
Let me give you our so far. So now, because of that, because I got 15 points and you got 3, I've overtaken you this season, and I have 54 points and you have 50 points.
There you go. It's never over because the system that you have here with the 5 pointers, and yeah, I got to catch up here. And to start off with, give me the Raiders -50 against the Chargers. Obviously, I'm joking right there. They didn't even cover if I did take that bet because it was like
Yeah.
40 something, but whatever. 63-21. I can't believe it. But all right, so I've been struggling with my picks when it comes to the spread, so I'm gonna flip it here and go with the total bets here, over under bets for my 5 pointer to start off with. Give me the Broncos and the Lions 47.5. Give me the under. The Lions have struggled offensively. Their offensive line has been shaky. You know, because Victor, in fantasy football, I've been going with the duo Montgomery and Gibbs. And when I saw the center injured last week, I'm like, that's gonna be trouble. I still played
Yeah.
him. It wasn't the worst effort, but they were a different team without the center. So, uh, and then with the Broncos, their defense has been pretty good. Like they lead the league in takeaways with 24. I think they're averaging since like ever since they went on that streak. I think the Packers game was the first one, so it's about 7 games. They've been allowing 15 points per game. That's pretty good. It's a solid defense here, and the Lions have kind of, taken a few step back offensively. So, and then 47 and a half is pretty high. So maybe if it gets a little bit of a shootout, I think I'll be okay. So, give me the under. It's my 5 pointer. My 4 pointer again, another total best. Over under bet. Chiefs, Patriots, 37 and a half. Give me the over. I'm just going to finally give the Chiefs one more chance. Go beat out and dominate this team, this Patriots team that got lucky last week. They're a 3-win team. Go drop 30 on them and let Bailey Zappi do the rest for this bet here. 37 and a half. Give me the over. And then number 3 for me, Bears +3 versus the Browns. After the Bears proves me wrong, I'm going to go on the Justin Fields side. I think they're going to give the Browns a run for their money. So give me +3. And then number 2, like I mentioned, Jets +9.5 against the Dolphins. Give me the Jets plus 9.5. And then number 1, Rams -6.5 against the Commanders. This feels like it's too good to be true. It should have been like over 10, but I'll take it. -6.5 Rams versus Commanders. And again, check out our game preview, Commanders versus Rams on House of Horns. If you're watching from House of Horns, if you missed it, make a note and watch that. If you're watching on Compas on the Beat and you're interested in Commanders and Rams, check out what me and Victor said this week. But those are my top 5.
Yeah, so picking off of what you're one, that make that one my 5. Rams -6.5 against the
Oh, nice.
Commanders. I really, I think we're gonna probably see another blowout, kind of like what we just saw tonight, where the Rams should. I know the Commanders are coming off a bye. But they've given up 45 points in the last 2 games against the Cowboys and Dolphins. The Rams, I think, offense is better than those 2 teams, especially with Sean McVay. And Ron Rivera has taken over the defense, and he hasn't done much with it from Jack Del Rio. And so, like I said, I like the Rams to
Uh,
in it big here. So I like that
real,
six and
real
a.
quick, Vic. I think I did the Rams a favor by not making this my 5-point game of the week, because if you and I both do it, it would be a jinx there. So
Yes.
I saved you, Rams fans, from a big upset.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm glad you did that too, because I was like, I wonder if he's gonna do that. So I wrote it in before you, just hoping that I beat you to it. My number 4 is Bengals -3 versus the Vikings. I really like what the way they're playing right now. I just think they're utilizing the running backs a lot better with Mixon and Brown. I like the fact that they're doing a little bit more screens with Jake Browning, and then that defense with Lou Adarumo we know what they get. They've been playing better and better, and so I like, and I can't trust the Vikings right now with, after they named the backup quarterback there, and they haven't looked the same. They scored 3 points against the Raiders, lucked out a win there. And I just really like what I've seen from the Bengals lately. So give me the -3 there for the Bengals. My number 3 is the Colts -1.5 against the Steelers. Again, I like the Colts at home. I always try to bet them when they're at home. They've proven they've been solid at home. They score over 20 points in every game. And the Steelers, I just don't know what I'm going to get from them on a weekly basis. They've lost 2 in a row against teams that lost 10 games, Gilbert. Like, that's just bad on back-to-back weeks. So give me the Colts -1.5. My number 2 is the Browns and Bears. I'm going with the 38.5 over. As you talked about, I really
Yeah.
like what the Browns, especially with Flacco and Justin Fields, what they've been doing. My only worry is both of these teams. I think, by the way, the Bears are the number 2 defense now, Gilbert. After struggling, they're the number 2 defense in the league now, and so that tells you what they've been able to do, how they've been able to turn things around. But I just think that they're going to score points here with Justin Fields and Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
So give me the 30.5
Uh,
here, 38.5,
r-
I should say.
Real quick, Vic. It seems like these total lines that are like under 40, they've been hitting the over. Like today's
Yeah,
Chargers Raiders game was like 34 and a half, and it went
yeah.
well over that. And then last week was 30 for the Steelers, Patriots went over that. The I remember the Jets and the Texans was 33 and a half. They went over that. I think it was 36. It was close. But yeah, like these low scoring ones on the over right now, they've been hitting.
Yeah, and then the Browns keep getting the low ones, and they keep going over. They did it against last week against who do they play? Why am I
Jaguars.
playing? The Jaguars. They hit the
Yeah.
over, and then the week before that against the
Rams.
Rams, they hit the over. So right now, the team to bet on the over is the Browns. They're giving you good points as long as you see if you can get it under 40 points. Bet the over right now in the Browns game, and then my number one, like I said, you say you saw it at +3, so I'm gonna go with that. I had it at +4. Seahawks against the Eagles. I just really like the fact that the Seahawks have to play desperate here. The Eagles are having to travel across the country, so give me the Seahawks to cover in this game. Give me the points there with the Seahawks. And every people who are watching, give us your logs. We have a tier. He gave us his locks of the week. Here we go. He likes the Lions, the Ravens, and the Eagles all to cover and going over. So there you go. We got a tiers locks of the week as well. If
Yeah, I like
and
those
then
actually.
yeah, those are really good. I like the Lions one too. I know you
Yeah.
talked about. I know you went the other way with
Oh,
the
yeah, I want the
Broncos.
under. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing to keep in mind that you brought up, Gilbert, is the Lions haven't been healthy. Their offensive line, they're starting to get people healthy on their offensive line. And then also CJ Gardner Johnson is gonna he's supposed to start practicing. They opened up the window from injured reserve, so he should be
Yeah.
back.
They
If
really need some help in the secondary.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah.
All right.
But I don't see I don't see the Broncos lining them up because they're not a good offense. But it's a tough play for me on the under there. But I'm taking a chance on the Broncos defense here. But I do like the maybe you'll probably ask me right now. Let's do the quick dump offs here on the picks.
There we go. Great segue there. Let's start off with. I already gave you my Vikings and Bengals.
Yeah.
Uh, I gave you my pick. What do
Yeah, you went
you?
with the Bengals, right? -3.
Yes.
Then I'll be quick. I'm with you. Bengals -3. They're at home. I like what Jake Browning is doing. Jake Browning helped me out on the over last week, so let's go with the Bengals again.
Like that. I gave you Steelers Colts. What do you got for Steelers Colts?
Uh, -1.5. Colts at home, like you mentioned. Give me the Colts. I am tired of the Steelers, and they're gonna cover -1.5.
There we go. And then we talked about Broncos Lions, and I'm with the tier here as well. I like the Lions here as well.
Uh, I I'm going with the Lions, but I'm gonna pick the Broncos to cover +4.5. And I'll answer this comment before.
From Josh.
This is our,
Oh,
our friend from Montreal. I
Montreal.
got it from Canada. I know you're up on the in the East Coast. Thank you for hanging around for a bit. Uh, you can't actually you can't sleep. I read you're gonna go to sleep because it's past midnight, so you can't sleep because of a terrible game with the Chargers. And yeah, good thing you're hanging around here. Let us know if you have any questions or comments about the Chargers game. That's cool too. If you're awake on it's 12:15 a.m. on the East Coast. I know that because for some reason my laptop is on East Coast time, but whatever. It's 12:15 right now, and I could do math too. It's 9:15 on the Pacific. But and then we got another one right from Josh.
Josh.
What do you think the odds are Tyreek plays this week? I have JT Jonathan Taylor. Is that what it is? Kirk, Tyreek, DJ Moore, Mostert, Aaron Jones, and a 20-man. Whoa, 20-man lead. Jesus. Uh, Literally, my whole starting lineup except Lamar and Kelsey are out. Okay, so you do have Jonathan Taylor, you have Christian Kirk, Aaron Jones. I know you're frustrated with him, Victor, and Tyreek. I don't know. I think they might be cautious with him, especially this might be the game to do it. But you again, they're desperate for a victory because the Bills are closing in. And then Tyreek tried playing last week, or he came back, right? And he was okay. He could be a decoy. That's my concerning part here, Tyreek, against a very good defense. He might be, especially after the swelling, the next day comes up and you can't really move on it. I'm worried about it. I don't think he even practiced this week, Victor. So he might be asking who he should play instead. DJ Moore is playing the Browns. That's tough, but I do like what Justin Fields has been doing. The Browns have been, giving up a lot of yards lately too. Moster's a good play. They know how to run the football. So wouldn't break that record, add some motivation to play too. I don't think so. I think they know they have bigger goals. But then again, Tyreek Hill has won a Super Bowl. Maybe he wants a record. Who knows? But then he was talking about the MVP, saying he wants Tua to win it. So maybe he doesn't care about things like that. Do you think all those guys play other than JT and Kirk? Obviously, what are the other ones again, Vic?
They are. We got
Yeah,
Tyreek. Yeah, you got
yeah,
Kirk, Reek, DJ Moore, Moster, Aaron Rodgers.
yeah. Maybe you know more about Aaron Jones, Vic, because I think he's on your fantasy team. But
Well,
DJ Moore, I will play
he was
him.
supposed to be ready to go, and then he didn't play on Monday. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty much done. I went and picked up my Singletary off the waiver, and I should have picked up the what's his name, the backup for the Raiders. He would have given me
or Zamir
14
White.
points. Samir White.
Yeah,
I should have gone with that,
yeah.
honestly. So
But Josh, don't be worried about DJ Moore. These Browns, the defense, especially without Denzel Ward, has kind of been giving up a lot of yards. And then Justin Fields and Moore have been playing well. I'm okay with that. And you got Mostert too. But yeah, like Victor said, maybe go find something for Aaron Jones there. And then especially with Tyreek, maybe like if he plays, I think you're gonna have to play him. It's Tyreek Hill. You don't want to miss out if he balls out. That's always my fear. But yeah, maybe have a backup there. But feel good about DJ Moore. I know the matchup is not good, but I think he'll do okay. What do you think about the DJ Moore one, Vic?
yeah, like you gotta roll with, especially now that you have Justin Fields. He does way better with Justin Fields on the field. So
Freaking
yeah,
Achan. I see your comment, Josh. He's so frustrating. Can't stay healthy.
yeah,
But
yeah. That's
yeah,
the other thing. Yeah, I would go. AJ Dillon has been solid. Just have him. I've kept him just in case anything happens. And I'm with you. A Chain has just been pretty bad lately. Let me get to some of these comments
yeah.
because as he said, it's past midnight. I don't know. He said, what should I do?
Disarray.
I'm in- He's like, I'm in disarray here. And
Any
says,
advice,
we'll
Vic,
watch
for
the
him?
show in terms of what.
No, he's in disarray. I don't know what you can do to help him out.
I don't know I can't hear anywhere related to football.
Okay,
I would say
maybe. Yeah,
go watch like some sitcoms and make yourself feel
yeah.
better. And I would, check back in next week because it's kind of hard. All right, we got Raven for live here, played white and the red drop calls for them. Good start of the week.
Nice.
Yeah, good call, Raven for live, because I had the Colts defense and I've kept them. I should have listened to Gilbert and picked up both White and the Raiders defense because
Yeah,
wow, I did not see that, especially after
yeah.
they score.
If you're still on Raven for Life 716, let me know how many points you got off of that Raiders defense. I'm actually very curious. I know they allowed 21 at the end, or so maybe that's not the greatest, but they had a touchdown return, right? And then they had a couple like three fumbles and like a bunch of sacks. It must have been a big day for that
Yeah,
defense.
last time I checked, it was 35 points. But Raven for life, let us know how many points the Raiders
Yeah,
defense gave you. He likes OBJ as his sneaky pick of the week.
yeah,
Lamar loves him. Yeah, but I think I talked about too, Raven for life earlier, and I know you probably hopped on here now, but I think Zay Flowers is the guy you want in this offense. I picked up what's his name, the back with the running back. Why am I blanking on his name, Gilbert? Number
for
34
who
for the
was she?
Ravens. For
Yeah,
the
Mitchell.
Ravens.
Mitchell.
Yeah, yeah, I
Gus
picked
Edwards
him
and
up and he
Mitchell.
didn't
Yeah.
give me anything last week. They didn't
Oh
even,
yeah.
yeah, 25 points. There you go, 25 points for the Raiders defense.
Nice.
Wow, look
25
at
points.
that.
That's pretty good. I thought it would be
18 from
more.
what?
But I know they gave up those points at the end, and 18 from White. I'll take partial credit in Zamir White because people kept asking me again on the TikTok live. Follow me if you can at gmansano24. And I was like, I don't know. He was good in training camp, but and then I kind of just said F it, go with it. And I got lucky in that one. But I was very adamant about start the Raiders defense. Like I was on it early, Victor. Like people kept making fun of me for picking up the Raiders defense. I was a little early for that, but they definitely stepped up against Easton Stick, and yeah,
Yeah,
nice 25 points. And real quick on
yeah, and
OBJ,
it's King Mitchell, and I picked him up last week, and I was thinking it was going to be a heavy run game against the Rams. They didn't use him much, and I was kind of disappointed. But now everybody's in the playoffs, so everybody needs points. So wherever you can get it, you're gonna do it. And then you're also seeing people, trying to block other people from picking up players. So that's another thing. If you have players, go pick them up that other people might need. That's another strategy that people forget to do is, hey, if you're going up against somebody and you know that they need like a running back or a receiver, make sure you're blocking those players from your opponent.
And think ahead, and I'll share a story because it did not work for me, Victor. But I got
Yeah,
maybe a little too cocky because I picked up the Dolphins defense, knowing they're gonna play the Jets. I'm like, hey, I'll probably make the playoffs. I'll start them next week, and then I didn't make the playoffs because I lost of a tiebreaker. I did my job though. I won the freaking median. I won the game, and the other team boat raced the other opponent. So, but look, pick up some players for the following week. It's okay. Sometimes I'm a little superstitious. I don't want to look ahead, so I'm gonna blame that loss on me. But sometimes it's good to block people or get other players. And real quick before I read the comment, I kind of like the OBJ play because he might not get like 10 targets or 10 catches, but it'll get you like a touchdown bomb. And that Jaguars secondary has been pretty bad. If you're hurting at the position and you need like a sneaky play, and especially if you're in a deep league, I wouldn't mind OBJ. And he's been doing well. He had that touchdown against the Rams. But let me read this one. I am a Ravens fan. Stay away from the Ravens RBs is a three-headed backfield. I don't blame you on that one. I feel the same way about the Bears and their committee. Anything with a committee, it's just frustrating.
yeah.
And I know Gus Edward was doing well with the touchdowns, but I'm with you on that take there. That's a good take.
Yeah, I should have listened. Where were you, Raven, for live last week? I should have taken your advice. I'm just kidding. But yeah, going off of that, I mean, as you talked about with OBJ, I think he scored two out of his last three games. He scored over 10 fantasy points. So he's been good when he's the last two out of the. It looks like he's gotten healthy. And one of the things with OBJ that I was as we were getting ready for that Rams Ravens game, they talked about the reporters were talking about how they're giving him more rest. They're giving him the Veterans Day, and that's helping him be ready to go. Juan Vasquez, buenas noches, compas. Is Stanley Fire already so I can wake up from this nightmare? I have
uh,
not gotten
Not
any.
yet. He
Not
doesn't
yet.
know though, Juan. He doesn't know he's going to be the head coach tomorrow. Maybe you'll wake up with good news, but I don't know if there's ever a night to just fire somebody on the spot. It could be tonight. But again, I keep going back to 45-0 game, and nobody got fired that night or the day after. So I don't want to give you bad news or good news or just kind of just wait and see, Juan. But yeah, have a good night. And thank you for dropping by and leaving a comment though. That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
we
a rough
really
night though.
enjoy. Yeah, yeah. See, they've been doubling Flowers and looking like OBJ's Lamar's new Andrews. I watched the field, 10 targets last week in the rain. Yeah, and we saw that game. I mean, he was looking for OBJ, but I just feel like Flowers is still the main guy there. He's the number one guy. But if, as you said, Raven for Life, if they're doubling Flowers, then OBJ becomes a big feature guy on in this offense,
Yeah.
especially with, as you said, Gilbert, not a great secondary by the Jaguars, and
Yeah.
the Jaguars rely a lot on pressure, so
And
that's going to
honestly,
be.
maybe not having that Mark Andrews is forcing Lamar to look downfield more, and it paid off against the Rams. Well, maybe they were forced by the Rams because they kept scoring points and they had to go downfield, but not having a security blanket might pay off for Flowers and OBJ when it comes to fantasy football, at least.
There we go. All right, let's continue with quick dump offs. We are heading over to Falcons and Panthers. By the way, Gilbert, I don't know if it's true, but I saw there was a ticket out there today for that you could buy for 45 cents to attend this game. Would you pay 45 cents to attend this game?
Uh, no, because then you got to pay for parking, you got to pay for food, you got to pay for gas. That's how they get you. It's like Vegas when they tell you come stay with us, free night hotel on us, and then get all your money gambling, all your food, your plane, things like that. Don't fall for it. But especially these Panthers, man, I feel bad for Bryce Young. Hopefully he turns it around, but they are terrible to watch, and they don't seem to improve. And +3 on the Panthers. I thought I'd be a little higher there, but they're at home taking the +3, and I get it. They're playing the Falcons -3. That they're very inconsistent, and I think you called it last week, Victor. You're saying you took the Falcons, but you're always wrong, so go the other way, and it turned out to be that. And I picked the Falcons too, and I'm tired of picking a winner for the NFC South because it's just a mess. But there's one thing I do know: the Panthers aren't going to win. So Give me the -3 on the Falcons. But again, like you said, it could be a Panthers game. If it does happen, if you're picking the Falcons, then maybe you're onto something here.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the bid here, Gilbert. I'm gonna give me the Panthers here. They get their second win of the season. We have one more comment. We'll get to Raven for life just because Juan Bosco. Thanks, compas. Now I gotta worry about those annoying ass Raider fans at work. Yeah, it's, especially here in Los Angeles. You know how it is. Um, all right. So where do we
That's
left
tough
off?
one, but I like the honesty though.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I'm going with give me the Panthers just to keep the bid going. They get their second win of the season. All right, next one is Buccaneers and Packers. This is a sneaky good game, Gilbert.
Yeah, Buccaneers Packers. It is actually kind of a decent game, and it's -3.5. Packers. I will take the Buccaneers to cover, but I think the Packers are gonna win this, and it's just like the Buccaneers. That another NFC South team is very inconsistent. Good game last week against the Falcons, but now I have to go to Lambeau Field. But the Packers did lose to the Giants, so a lot of both teams are up and down. But I like the Packers just being at home there. They're in the playoff race, similar to the Buccaneers, though. So it could be a tough game, but Buccaneers cover, Packers win.
I remember Mayfield was with the Rams, and I'm trying to remember if he was on that if he played in that game against the Packers at Green Bay. I don't know if you remember that or not from last year.
Uh, Mayfield. Oh yeah. Rams against the Packers. Yes, I was there.
Yes, he so was he did he play?
Yeah, Mayfield played and he wasn't great. It was
Yeah,
one of his
so
worst performances with the
give
Rams.
me the Packers to cover here. I don't think and it's
Okay.
always hard for these warm weather teams to go up to Lambeau and do well. So I'm gonna go with the Packers here, just off of that. I know that the Packers are on a short week, and Love didn't look great, but you're gonna have they have a young team. They're gonna have ups and downs, but the Buccaneers have also. This is a game. This is a hard game to pick. So give me the home team. And I really like what I've seen lately from the Packers. I think they had one bad step there, but I think they win here against the Buccaneers. All right, Chiefs and Patriots. What's the line on
Uh,
this one?
yeah, this is Patriots +8. They're at home, but give me the Chiefs to cover. They just need a game to get right and just tell people stop worrying about us. The alarms are gonna turn off right here and just beat them down. So give me the Chiefs -8.
I'm gonna surprise you here. Give me the Patriots to keep it close. I like the Chiefs to win, but I give me the points on the
Yeah,
Patriots.
like
I just think Bill Belichick already knows they know that they're parting ways at the end of the season, so he's gonna try to stick it to
yeah.
Kraft, and he's gonna try to win as many games as he can. So they don't get a chance to get a quarterback. So
Okay.
actually, you know what? Give me the upset here. I'm calling it the
Whoa.
Patriots over the Chiefs, and then
All
that
right.
sets up a first place game between well, it won't, but it puts the pressure on the Chiefs and the to keep winning because the Broncos are one game behind. So give me the
Yep.
upset here.
All right. What we got next?
Bears and Browns. I gave you my pick there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the upset here. I'm gonna go with the Bears. I said +3 too, but might as well go money line. The Browns, they're on a high right now with beating the Jaguars, the Joe Flacco story. But this team is kind of inconsistent at times. So give me the Bears, and the Bears are actually doing pretty well here. So Justin Fields put pressure on the team to keep you around because they might have a high pick with the Panthers.
Yeah, and then that's the thing I like about the Bears right now. That part of the reason they're going with the F it attitude is because they know they're getting the number one pick with the Panthers. So if they keep winning, it's not going to affect them. They're still going to get a top 10 pick either way, or maybe they can get into the playoff picture here with another win. They would
Yeah.
be 6-8 at that point. So, but I'm going to go with the Browns. Give me the Browns. I told you once I saw Joe Flacco against the Rams, I told you if they make him the starter, I like the Browns to make the playoffs and do something. And I just think that it just changes their offense, and we know what to expect from that defense. So give me the Browns in this game. All right, Gilbert, Texans and Titans. I'm no CJ Stroud, right?
Most likely he hasn't been practicing, so maybe no Nico Collins, but I think he said he's optimistic about playing. Maybe no Will Anderson Jr. So yeah, not good. Give me the the Titans -3, and Davis Mills is probably gonna do poorly against Will Levis. Give me the Titans.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Titans at home. I've told you, it's always hard for those young teams to go into. And then Mike Brable, like he's another guy. He's gonna play to win. He doesn't care about tanking. And then we see Will Levis what he's been able to do. I just think the Texans story has come to an end here. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs after the promising the promise that they had a couple games ago. Is just injuries have caught up to them. So give me the Titans here as well. I'm with you. Next
Yeah,
one is 49ers and Cardinals. I do have a comment. Do you want to
yeah.
get to the
Let's
comment?
let's get to the comment.
Here we go. Says
I don't know
should
if he's being serious, but go ahead, Vic.
Yeah, it says should Herbert request a trade to get away from this dysfunction? I don't think so,
Yeah.
Gilbert. I'll tell you straight up. It's just that, like we said, they're gonna probably clean house, and then you go from there. I think that's how you keep them satisfied. But you need to do something in the next 2 years.
Yeah, he just signed a massive contract extension, so it kind of looks silly to ask for a trade when you just signed the contract in August, September, I forget when. So I don't know if you're being serious or not, but if you're a Chargers fan or not, and maybe it's frustration. But obviously, in maybe 2 3 years, it was not going well. Maybe it's like the Shohei Ohtani thing: give him a chance for 7 years, whatever it is, and then move on. But yeah, it's not good. And like I know I was kind of half joking last week, but I'm like, on the day that Philip Rivers and Antonio Gates are together at SoFi Stadium, Justin Herbert gets the finger injury. It's kind of like, it's kind of fitting. Two great players coming back who just always fell short year after year. And then Herbert has the injury. It just doesn't look good for this franchise here. And a follow up comment here, maybe not this year, but in the future, if this mess continues, then yeah, definitely, maybe a couple years from now, and they try to get out of the contract, or maybe he goes through the contract and it gets expired. He's still a young player and he moves on. Like, actually, I should, now that I'm going to say this, Matthew Stafford kind of had a similar thing where he was there for a decade and then he leaves and wins the Super Bowl. And right now, Justin Herbert looks like Matthew Stafford Detroit version. We're going to pad the stats, rocket arm, great quarterback, but in a terrible situation, and we just kind of forget about him when it comes to quarterback rankings. But he's a baller, and it's like maybe he get traded in 10, not 10 years, but like 6 7 years from now, kind of like the Matthew Stafford route. But hopefully it doesn't go to that point where Stafford and the Lions just didn't do anything for 10 years or 10 plus years.
Yeah, it's you hopefully that doesn't happen for the Chargers if you're a Chargers fan. All right, Gilbert, did we leave off did you give your Texans and Titans pick?
Yeah, I went with the Titans, and I don't know if you gave yours.
Yeah, I did. I'm with you on that one. All
Okay.
right, 49ers and Cardinals.
Yeah, I'll keep it simple, but let me check the spread here. It's plus 12.5. Cardinals at home. 49ers are rolling. Give me minus 12.5. They'll probably win by 20. 49ers against Arizona.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I'm hoping for a big CMC game here. I'm in the playoffs and I have CMC on my team, so I'm with you. I just don't think right now they're out to prove that they're the best team, and so far they've been doing it. And I think they continue against the Cardinals. The Cardinals have pretty much, they fought hard early, but at this point they're just looking forward to the off season. And then our last one was Commanders Rams. We both like
Oh, yeah.
the Rams at minus 6.5.
Yeah.
If you haven't, if you want more from this game, check out House of Horns. We did a breakdown there for Rams and Commanders minus 6.5. We were both on the Rams. We think it's going to probably be a blowout here, but the Commanders are coming off a bye, so that is something to look forward to keep an eye on, Gilbert.
Yeah, we'll see, but I don't have any faith in the Commanders, and yeah, we got every game covered here. We took a little longer because we wanted to answer questions after a strange, difficult night for the Chargers. We wanted to answer the questions, and thank you for those who came by and dropped a comment and talk either Chargers, talk Raiders, talk fantasy football, talk about best bets, talk about just anything going on in the NFL right now. And yes, if you like the content, if you liked what we're talking about, if you liked hanging out and you want to support the Compas on the Beat network, help the Compas get to Super Bowl Radio Row. We've been there, 2 years in a row. We were trying to make it to 3 years in a row. get to Las Vegas. Fernando's currently in Las Vegas, and make sure to check out What's Up Bolts later because Fernando has you covered for the post game show for Chargers and the Raiders. Locker room stories, I'm sure, will come from that, and I'm interested in that. But help us get to Super Bowl Raider Row in Las Vegas by checking out the link in the description. It's a PayPal link. A couple people have helped out recently, and that was awesome to see. And any small donation will go a long way, and it just makes us excited. It feels like okay, people actually like her work here and our content. We're doing something here that people like, and they want to show appreciation. So that's awesome. Or join us on these live shows here and give a super sticker, a super like. Shout out to Jesse Trejo. He gave us a super sticker on Monday. That was awesome. We got really excited about it. So we appreciate any type of donation to help us buy equipment, get housing, things like that. Just create better content for everybody here. And it's been awesome to see. We started Compas on the Beat, me and Fernando, about 3 years, and it's been growing and growing. And obviously, there's times where it's frustrating because you want to get more views, more subs, and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of work. And I'm up here late, not like our guy from Montreal and midnight there. But it takes work and effort, but everybody here makes it fun, and it's awesome to see the support that we're getting. So that goes a long way. But again, no pressure. December is a tough month here, but again, check out the link in the description or give a super sticker. And real quick, again, Mondays we go live. We've been pretty consistent with the Mondays around 2:30 Pacific, and then we have the full show with the four compas. It kind of either Tuesday night or Wednesday night. Check that out too. And then we got House of Horns with Victor and myself, and we got What's Up Bulls with Fernando and Dan. So if you ever see us live with the Looking Ahead show, we've been back and forth with Wednesday and Thursday. I think next week we're probably gonna go back to Wednesday because we probably got to do a House of Horns recap show next week because of Saints and the Rams. So some programming alert there. Probably go back to Wednesday next week, and we'll see how it goes here. But either day has been pretty good, so that's pretty cool to see, Vic.
Yeah, it has been. Just want to give a shout out to everybody who joined us today and commented. Alonso Takanga, Onyx, uh, 2626, David Huey, Randy Miller, 410 East Coast, Adir, as always, man, we appreciate you always, commenting, whether it's here or on the live lunas with the guys. Drew B. Do Drums also joined us today, so that was really cool to see. Josh, he's always asking us fantasy questions, which we love. You're in the playoffs right now. Our guy Moy from Montreal, he joined us as well. Raven for Life 716, and so we Juan Vasquez and then Jasper. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for being in the comments. We appreciate it. The reason we do this is because of you guys, and then the engaging part is awesome because we try to give you, as we do our show, we try to get the comments in as they come in, and then sometimes we'll veer off from the show, which we like, but continue the support. And honestly, that's all I can say, Gilbert, is thank you guys for continuing to support this channel.
Yeah, real quick, Vic. I'm trying to figure out our guy from Montreal's handle name, Viva Moy 42. Is that like Moises Alou from the Expos days or something? But maybe I'm wrong. But I'm just trying to reach here for for the Moy part. Moises Alou, you play for the Expos, no?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he was with them, and then he got traded, and he ended up with the Cubs, and then he had the whole Bartman situation.
yeah,
So
because I
yeah,
see Moy 42, so maybe it's like a player, but I don't know if you wore 42 or not. But
yeah.
that was just me kind of wondering. But shout out to you.
We
Hopefully you're
should
feeling
get
better.
his real name on here next time, or when he's on with you guys on Mondays. You guys should ask him what his real, like. Just give us a first name that we can use.
Moy's cool too. No worries.
Yeah.
But I think we're done here, Victor. We got all the programming alerts out. We answered questions. We talked about Chargers, Raiders, and 90 minutes ago. And watch us get off the stream here, and then some news is gonna occur with Brandon Staley. Who knows? Maybe we'll
Yeah,
jump back on if it happens. But
we've been
uh,
trying to stretch this out as much as we could, but it's 9:40 already. Gilbert, we got games on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday
yeah,
now, Gilbert. So, full weekend of games this week.
yeah, I'm okay with Saturday games, but not Friday games, and I don't really care for Thursday games. But yeah, let's get on to week 15. And but again, you know how to help us out to get to Super Bowl Radio Row. And all the content we're doing at Compas on the Beat. What's up, Bolts, House of Horns, Combat Compas has to come back eventually, maybe in the off season. But yeah, on that note, let's get to Saturday. More games to arrive. Hopefully, they're better than tonight's game. But on that note, ya nos vamos. Pues vámonos.